Hello and welcome along to Mondo Chalavet Movies. My name is John, and this video is going to be the 13 movies I watched over October 2023. But first, I'd like to say a big thank you to everybody who wished me well. On my last video, I did talk about having a sort of health problems and having some tests done, which that's going to be 2 weeks down the line. So just to say that it's nothing tragic. It's not anything that begins with C, but I just wanted to say a quick thank you to everyone who's wished me well over YouTube and Instagram. Cheers. So in the month of October, I watched 13 horror films. Actually, I want to watch many more. I was thinking about watching all of the Friday the 13th franchise, which never happened. I was thinking of watching some of the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise, which never happened. So, yeah, just one of them things. But the 13 I watched, I think they all were really good. Apart from, at number 13, and bottom of the list with a bullet, is 1977's Snow Beast. And I'm really surprised that Vipco, of all people, are the ones to release this movie. Now, there is the Snow Beast. And one of the things about Snow Beast is you see the creature, the Yeti, the Snow Beast, for about, in a total, I would say you'd be lucky to see it for 10 seconds. I wouldn't mind the bit you do see. They've obviously went to a length to actually create this beast, and it looks pretty good actually. It doesn't look horrendous. It looks, well, about the same level as Night of the Demons. And I tell you, Night of the Demon. And I tell you what, Night of the Demon looks like Citizen Kane compared to this thing. Now, the main reason about this movie is that it's a TV movie, which I've got nothing against. You get some brilliant TV movies. This one is it's just so middle of the road. It's unbelievable. The fact you don't see the creature at all, apart from a perspective point of view, the cameras chase people are going, oh, like that. And that's basically what you see. You might see an arm coming like that. There's hardly any blood in it. And the story is quite convoluted. It's like a love triangle thing, and it's in this ski resort where a bloke comes back to ski with this woman, and she's got a new husband, all that type of stuff. And it's utterly boring. The the effects are non-existent because there's nobody gets killed as such. I think someone gets pushed off a mountain. That's about it. So if you are looking for this movie, or you see this movie, even the standalone, if this was on a standalone DVD, which I really can't imagine was a thing, but it might be, because some of these ones, oh, this was standalone. So this might be. Avoid this like the plague. It is one of the rarest videos that I do see on here. This is just total awfulness. Now, you could say, is it so bad it's good? No, it's just bad. And it's not even, hasn't got, it's actually trying to be a good movie. It could be a good movie if they put some special effects in it. I didn't have the snow beast kind of there, but not there. So I wouldn't care. I was quite looking forward to seeing this movie. But yeah, at number 13 is Snow Beast. Avoid, avoid, avoid. At number 12 is 1993's Scary Tales. This is part of the AGFA range. I did plan on watching all the ones I hadn't seen of these movies in October, and that didn't happen. Never mind. This movie has got three stories in it. It's just this sort of demon thing is talking to this group of kids and telling them about these three scary tales. And when I put it on, it's on shot and videotape. It's ultra low budget. It's really, but it's quite gory. It's quite watchable as well. It's one of those ones when you bump into it, you think this is when you started off, you think, is this going to be a problem because it's so low budget? But to be honest, these ones here, they always seem to come good in the end. And this one was quite a decent watch. It's not the best one in that collection, but it's still a good watch. And it's got a great cover. I love that cover. And it's got a lot of bonus features on here. It's got some other movies by this fella who done this. He's got an Exorcist kind of rip-off movie where this all the people in the movie are played by kids, and they do the scene of the exorcism scene. They do a kind of verbatim, and the priest is a young kid. Nuts, yes. Anyway, quite a good decent watch. That's at number 12. That's Scary Tales. At number 11 is 1991's Scary Movie. This was a movie that when I watched it, I started watching it, and actually the picture quality in it is quite good. Scary Tales is quite dodgy. They've done a little remaster on this one, strangely enough. Now, this movie, when I was watching it, I thought it is maybe a one-time watch for me. It wasn't really setting the world on fire. But if you get this movie, stick with it. There's a big payoff at the end. It's got such a unique twist in this movie. It kind of, if you see, I talked about this before, if you've seen the movie Hellfest, this is a low budget version of that. even though Hellfest is much later when it was made. This movie follows this young fella who was petrified about everything to do with this when they go to this Hellfest event, and it must have been filmed in someone's back garden. And it's got like a kind of, I would imagine, it's like a shed, and they've changed this into this Hellfest thing where you go into it and you get trying to get like spooked, like Chamber of Horrors. So I thought halfway through, is this anything I'm going to watch again? But after watching this, I thought, yes, I'm definitely watching again. So at number 11, that's Scary Movie. At number 10 is 1957's I, Vampiri. This is the I, Vampiri is an actual extra on this set. So what I've done is I've started to watch Mario Bava's movies from start to finish, and I'm having a great time with it. I've got up until Black Sunday, which I've just watched yesterday, I think. But this movie, such a great movie. The special effects in here are absolutely amazing. It's got the same special effects in Black Sunday, which I've forgotten all about, and they really are incredible. To think that Mario Bava he was a bit of everything. He was a great director, cinematographer, special effects man. He had ideas, a writer. He had it all. Now, Ivan Piri is a take on the Countess Bathory, an old woman who's trying to get blood from young people to actually drink it to become younger. And it's such a great movie. It's the first ever sound horror movie from Italy. And the reason why that is such, because I thought, well, 1957, they must have done a horror movie before that. Well, it didn't because Mussolini, who was the head of like Italy at the point of the war, he banned everything to do with horror movies, apparently. So there you go. So that's why this was the first one after the war that they made. And it's such a great movie, such an important movie as well, and really gothic and just well done. Although I would say the picture quality on here is standard definition. It's not that great. It could do with a really good remaster. So at number 10, that's I, Vampiri. At number 9 is 1959's Kaltiki, the Immortal Monster. Now this is filmed in black and white. It is the movie after I, Vampiri from Mario Bava. He didn't direct it, but he pretty much done everything else. It's special effects, cinematography, all that type of thing. The movie looks spectacular. It's kind of like a remake of The Blob without the cinema, if that makes any sense. This monster, this Kaltiki, the immortal monster, there's no pictures of Kaltiki because he or she is a god, and she or she turns into this kind of like blob and terrorizes the neighborhood, and it's unstoppable, immortal. There you go. But it's a great movie, and it's got this fella here gets, without spoilers, he gets infested by this blob, and he gets the Quatermass experiment thing. His hand turns into this thing, and he gets. There's a great part of the story because he turns into this weird bloke, this really horrible guy. He's like a good guy at first, but he turns into this real nasty bit of work because he's been infected by this blob. So it's a great little film, actually, really well done. It looks spectacular, of course, because if anything with Mario Bava to do with, you will know that it looks spectacular. I'm just listening to this. I imagine everybody at this point on Thursday is having this huge storm which is going through the area, which is pouring down out there. So anyway, so at number 9, that's Kaltiki, the Immortal Monster. At number 8 is 2023's Saw X or Saw 10. Me and some saw this at the cinema, and to be honest, I was thinking it was going to be all right. I heard really good reports about it, and when we watched it, I said to me, "Son, what do you think?" He says, "It's pretty good, actually." I think it was good that they haven't tried to tag this onto the end of the Saw franchise, which is kind of done and dusted-ish. This has taken place part in the middle of the Saw franchise, kind of towards 4 and 5 or 3, something like that. And I think the movie itself plays out well. It's got some great traps in it, but the only thing I'll say about this Saw franchise or movies like it, you're obviously waiting for the traps. The traps were great, but sometimes you kind of think, well, have we not seen all of the traps? Is there anything that can add to these traps which we haven't seen? That's the only sort of downside I'd say to it. It hasn't got the shock factor. There is a few moments where you just think, I can't believe that's happening because you get that kind of, things getting broken and snapped and cut, and you think, oh, if that was me, it would be horrendous. So it was good, and I really enjoyed it. Looked spectacular on the big screen. It's good to see a Saw movie in the cinema, which I've never seen before. So that was a good experience. It is a solid Saw movie. I would say it's better than Saw 7. And Jigsaw, it's better than Jigsaw. So yeah, I haven't seen the other one, Spiral, But yeah, not a bad movie. It's better than you would think. But the 10th movie in the franchise, it's not too bad. So I think has this franchise got more legs? Probably. Yeah. So at number 8, that's Saw 10. At number 7 is 2023's Cocaine Bear. Now we watched this on Sky Movies, and me and the Debs, because we're going to go and see it at cinema. We never got around to it. Actually, I think it wasn't really shown too well in our cinemas, so we couldn't get the time to get to it. It was showing them at late at night, so it was daft. So I put this on, and to be honest, at start I was thinking I didn't think I was going to be into it. But when the gore starts happening and the movie picks up and it gets a bit more, you understand the characters and you see what's happening and you see the things that they're getting up to or the bear's getting up to. We really enjoy this. Now, one of the best things about watching a movie like this with the Debs is that she gets petrified very easily. So part of the enjoyment of watching this movie is to watch her squirm when these things on the screen are happening. Now, there's some things on these screens that what happens to some of the people, some of the injuries they get, which are quite, ooh, you just think, I can't believe that. Well, she said, I'm going to be sick. So I was trying not to laugh. And I says, well, don't actually, she said, it's like a taxi driver. She watched Taxi Driver with me way back when she was actually sick. She was sick when she was watching The Craze as well. So, yeah, that was at the cinema. She had to run away and be sick. When he says, I'll give you a smile to remember. Yeah. So she has got that element to it. I mean, I wasn't laughing at that. Well, I kind of was. But anyway, this movie we thought had such a good. Now, I wanted to see this on here because I'd heard so much conflicting reports about it. I thought, well, I don't want to go out and buy the 4K if it's going to be a movie that I'm going to think, well, this is just pretty much rubbish. But I think this movie is such a good movie. I will be getting this on 4K. And the actual picture quality on ultra high definition on Sky Movies look brilliant. So I can't wait to pick that up, probably in a sale. So at number 7, that's Cocaine Bear. At number 6 is 1990's Frankenhooker. This is such a great movie. I've loved this movie ever since I saw it. Had this on VHS, I'm sure I had it on VHS. Had it on DVD, I'm pretty sure. This is just so funny. Now, this fella here, I think it's called James Lawrence or Loritz, I think it's called. James Lawrence, I think it's so funny. He was in Street Trash as well. Played an equally good part. Bit of a slime ball in that movie. I've always liked this movie. I've always liked Frank Henlin-Hotter's movies. I think they're so good. I wish he'd make some more. But this is a great little movie. If you haven't seen it, it's really a really good comedy. Of course, you could not do this movie at all today. I like these movies actually. When someone says this movie won't get made today, and it's a shame that doesn't happen. And I'll say good because it's always good to get these movies and you can watch them. You can say this is something that people would frown on today, which I think is another kind of bonus feature to this because some people can go on about these things and say, oh, that's too much. This is that's not politically correct. And you say, well, I like it, so there you go. So anyway, at number 6, that is Frankenhooker. At number 5 is 1971's See No Evil. This is a movie I've really been looking forward to. I remember when Lauren's Collection, she was talking about this movie and she held it in high regards. And I thought, I've got to see that. It took us a while to get around to it. Anyway, I got this one. I knew it was going to be one I was going to watch in October. This is a great movie. Now, I thought that this movie would be about this girl who was locked in this house and getting chased by somebody who was like, obviously, she's blind, she can't see that. Now, it's not really like that. It's better than like that. That's a good story and a good premise, and that kind of does happen in the movie. But the movie is more about the fact that this is not a spoiler, this, she goes to stop with her family, and she was sighted, but she had fell off a horse, banged her head, and she went blind off that. But she's getting around with she's been blind for a short while, and she knows this house, she can map this house. But when she's in the house, she goes out for a ride with this person that she'd known from way back when. And when she's out, the whole family get killed. Now, she doesn't know this, so when she comes back, everyone's dead, but she doesn't know that, and she doesn't actually bump into them. So she's in the house doing a normal thing, but these people are dead, and there's more to it than that. That's a great little part to this movie, I found. And yeah, it looks great. It's got a nice presentation on here. There is two versions. I think one's slightly a different cut. It's not. I don't think it's got any extra bits in it, but it's like a really good thriller. Mia Farrow is excellent in this movie. I think that the whole cast is great. There's loads of people in here that you think, wow, that's a really early performance from such and such. And everybody in here, I knew who they were. You've got a really eclectic bunch, and it's got a great cast. So yeah, so highly recommended first time watch for me. But I think that a lot of people will get this. It comes across like a Hammer movie, which it's not. It's got that early England 1970s look to it, which I think is a brilliant look to a movie. So at number five, that's See No Evil. At number four is 1973's The Exorcist. I knew I had to watch this in October. I was saving it for the month of October. I'm not going to go into too many details about what I think of the presentation of this movie because I've done two videos on it. I'll leave them down below if you want to know more about that, what I think about the picture quality and all that. But what I will say is when I watch this, I watch a longer cut. I will watch a shorter cut on 4K. And I had a really good time with it. This movie, I think, is just such a well-made movie. It's not a movie I watch all the time. There will be a while before I go to the theatrical cut of this movie, but I really appreciate how good this movie is. And but this time around, I wasn't too scared about it. It was scary parts in it, but it didn't freak us out as much as normal. I think the best way to watch this movie is to watch it with somebody who hasn't seen it, who's freaked out by this stuff, because then you can get that kind of rush again about, well, when you're watching something, you get the, ooh, you get the initial, I can't believe that. But you don't really get that after multiple watches. So if you could get what the devs would never go touch this with a barge pole. But if I get somebody else who would watch this, who would be freaked out by it, it would be a great way to watch this movie. I think that's the best way to watch a movie like this. That you've seen that many times, you know all its beats, but you want to get that experience of somebody being absolutely horrified by this movie. So at number four, that's The Exorcist. So at number three is 1981's The House by the Cemetery. Lucio Fulci's masterpiece in my eyes. This is a great set here. Now, on my original unboxing of this movie, I didn't say that it had a 5.1 surround sound, which I watched on this disc. It was brought to my attention in the comments. When I did look on the disc, lo and behold, there it was. I can't believe that I missed that. I just said it was one channel. So you have got the 5.1 surround. The other, the Blue Underground one does have Dolby Atmos, so I think it's a brilliant soundtrack. But this one sounds really good, and I did watch the 5.1. I had a great time with it. This movie for me is such a good movie, and this one I would say it's a slightly bit more colourful than the version that was released by Blue Underground, slightly. But I mean, they're both spectacular. So if you've got that one or you don't want to get this one, and vice versa, both of them are great. But this is a kind of I did used to say this is more like the Shining. It's got the elements of Shining in it, but it's not really a Shining movie. So this fella here, Dr. Freudstein, he lives in the basement in this house. And what he does is he tries to get bits of people to make himself back to normal because he's kind of like this zombie thing. It's a bit daft to say the least, but it's not a bad film. I really do like it, and I've always liked this movie. I urge anyone to pick this released up on 4K. It looks brilliant. Such a good package as well. So at number three, that's The House by the Cemetery. At number two is 1964's Blood and Black Lace. This is just such a good movie. Me and the devs watched this the other day, and she had such a good time in this movie. She's she was totally invested in it. She was like saying, "Oh, it could be this one, it could be that one. It's got a good, it's good. It's a giallo. It's probably the first ever giallo that kind of looked like a giallo, and by that I mean it had all the kind of beats of a giallo. It just looks spectacular. It looks like a Suspiria. The colours are amazing. The sets are just unbelievable. Some of the things I was seeing in here, you've got this vivid colour scheme, but the setups that Mario Bava has with these other things where you've got these setups of like sort of places, and the lighting in it is just unbelievable. This movie is a visual treat. This to me, from Arrow, is one of the best 4Ks you will ever see. What a film this is. And I don't want to say too much about the story. And when you get this, don't look at the booklet because the booklet will tell you pretty much, kind of give you the information of who the killer is. So don't do that. Just go on and watch the movie. Have a great time with it. It's such a good giallo. It's such a good set. It's amazing. So at number two, that's Blood and Black Lace. So at number one in my 13 horror movies I watched in the month of October in 2023 is 1985's The Return of the Living Dead. Now, this has been my list for a long time to watch. I've got to say a huge thank you to my good friend Christopher Wynn for sending me this 4K. Just, it's an absolutely amazing thing to have. And this slipcover, I love this slipcover. So when I put it on, I flicked through the 4K and I thought, look, brilliant. But when I put it on, I was blown away by how good this 4K is. It's one of the best 4Ks I've ever seen. The presentation on it is just absolutely amazing. The black levels are insane on this movie. And I used to watch the movie all the time. I haven't watched it for quite a while. And when I watched it, I thought, you know what it is? This is such a good movie. And I will be watching it again really soon. It's got a mass of special features on here. Some of the best special features you ever see. Hours and hours and hours of documentaries. It's unreal. Now this, I think that the Blu-ray is region locked there to region A, although I haven't tried it. But this one here, this movie here is one of the best ever zombie comedy movies you'll ever see in your life. It's just such a good movie. And when this came out in 1985, I remember everyone was talking about it in the video libraries. And this was the one where you just couldn't get your hands on it. Everybody was after this because it never got banned or anything. It's one of the ones that got through. It's so gory, but for some reason, because it was maybe a bit comedic, they didn't do anything about banning it. So it was one of the most goriest ones you could actually get. This is why everybody was going for it, because the gory horror movies of the early 80s or the mid 80s were gone because of the video nasty thing, and you just couldn't get your hands on anything gory. And this was probably the most gory one out there at that time. It's just so good. But this is such a great movie. Obviously, some of the music on here has been changed because of rights issues, which is a bit of a shame. But that's just the way it goes. I think I've got one that does have the original soundtrack on. I think it's a song by The Damned that's got taken off, I think. But no, it's got everything you could want from here. The comedy is amazing, so funny. The characters are absolutely brilliant. The story is brilliant, and yeah, you can't really top this for this type of movie. I know it's like about 5 sequels now. I do want to watch all of the sequels. I would like to do a video on the rankings of all the sequels because I've only seen the first three, and I do enjoy them. But how will they sit? I mean, I would imagine none will top this one because it's one of those movies that everybody's got to see this. It's such a good movie, and yeah. So that's number one with a bullet. Big thank you again to Christopher Wynn for supplying me with this 4K. It's just an amazing thing to receive from anybody. So grateful for receiving that. I know it took a while to get to it, but I'm glad I've got to it now, especially in October. So that's my number one. So thanks once again, everybody, for all the well wishes. Cheers. I really do appreciate that. So thanks for watching. You take care, especially you, Christopher, and I'll see you on the next video. Cheers.